In the quiet, picture-perfect suburb of Willow Creek Estates, everything looked like it belonged in a magazine. Lawns trimmed with military precision, roses blooming on cue, and, of course, a homeowners association manual thicker than a phone book. But beneath the calm, something far darker was brewing. And at the center of that storm, Mildred Crane, president of the HOA board. Her backyard looked more like a golf course than a garden. She ran the HOA like a personal kingdom. Mildred wasn't just obsessed with rules. She was addicted to control. 2 doors down lived someone very different, Mrs. Eleanor Monroe, a soft-spoken widow in her late 70s. Eleanor had a twinkle in her eye and a heart bigger than most city blocks. And in her backyard lived Daisy, a 28-inch tall miniature therapy horse who helped children with disabilities. Eleanor was a retired pediatric therapist. For years, she'd hosted free therapy sessions in her garden for local kids battling cerebral palsy, muscular disorders, and trauma. Daisy wasn't just a pet, she was part of the healing. Kids came alive around her. One little girl named Ruby even learned to walk again while holding onto Daisy's back. But to Mildred, Daisy was a violation, a threat. Mildred had a long-standing grudge against Eleanor. Years ago, Eleanor had opposed a shady HOA land swap that would have let Mildred fence off a slice of community parkland for her private use. Eleanor had blocked the vote with irrefutable proof. Ever since, Mildred wanted her gone. At first, the tactics were petty. Complaints about livestock odors, thinly veiled threats in HOA letters, false claims about insects. All of them dismissed. Eleanor had permits, clean vet records, support from most of the board. But when a new developer-backed block took over the HOA, Mildred saw her chance. She claimed Daisy's stable was an unauthorized auxiliary structure and pushed through an emergency motion to have it removed. The board was split, but with 3 votes from developer puppets. Motion passed. Mildred didn't wait. She paid a sketchy contractor, under the table, to demolish the stable before sunrise. Told him it was a shed, that no one lived there, that the HOA had signed off, none of which was true. She even live-streamed the whole thing from her iPad, framing it as a public service to restore neighborhood standards. At 5:47 a.m., a diesel engine rumbled down the side path into Eleanor's yard. A bulldozer. Eleanor, startled awake, rushed out in her robe and slippers, screaming that Daisy was inside. Mildred smirked at the camera, calling her hysterical. What she didn't know, Eleanor's neighbor on the other side, Richard Blake, wasn't just some quiet retiree. He was the recently appointed state police commissioner. And his niece, a sweet girl named Harper, was one of Daisy's therapy kids. Richard heard the screams, then the crunch of wood. He saw the bulldozer, the broken stable, and a terrified horse crying out in fear. He moved fast, called in backup before he even grabbed his badge, vaulted the fence, ordered the operator to kill the engine now. The guy froze. Cut the engine. Silence fell, except for Daisy's frightened whinnies and Eleanor's panicked sobs. Then Richard saw something chilling. 2 red gas cans in the Bulldozer's cab. When he asked the driver, the man said, "Lady told me it was for cleanup. Said it needed to be thorough." Richard didn't like that word. Thorough. He called in the bomb squad and arson team. And thank God he did. Inside those gas cans, gasoline. And inside 2 heavy-duty trash bags, fertilizer mixed with fuel oil. Info. An illegal homemade explosive. Enough to destroy the stable and, likely, Eleanor's home. Turns out, Mildred planned more than a bulldozing. She wanted it all gone. No trace. And she'd hoped to pin it on an electrical fire. Within hours, Mildred was in handcuffs. The same woman who once fined someone for painting their fence the wrong shade of white was now facing felony charges: arson conspiracy, destruction of property, endangerment of a registered therapy animal, and illegal possession of explosive materials. Her smug live stream was seized as evidence. Her HOA position gone. Her reputation obliterated. But from the ashes of that broken stable came something beautiful. Thanks to a civil suit and public outcry, Mildred was forced to forfeit a large chunk of her estate. Those funds helped build Daisy's Haven a permanent, fully accessible animal therapy center serving children across the state. And yes, Daisy became the first resident. Today, she still greets kids every morning, her mane braided with ribbons, her spirit unbroken. Eleanor remains the heart of the program. And Richard, he visits often, quietly, watching the joy unfold. Sometimes, from chaos and cruelty, comes healing and hope. So tell me, have you ever seen an HOA go too far? Drop your story or thoughts below. I read every comment. And hey, don't forget to like and share if you believe in standing up for the little guyer in this case, the little horse.